My name is David Nicotra. I'm the founder and developer of Koine Guide, a tool that's designed for folks who've taken some seminary Greek or have studied Greek on their own or taken some undergraduate Greek and are itching to get into the New Testament text themselves. The purpose of my application is to help you interact with the Greek text of the New Testament, to actually get into the Greek text itself, not just a grammar, and to provide your own translations, to do the work of translating through the whole New Testament, storing your translations, giving you creative ways to interact with the Greek text of the New Testament. Today I'm going to show you a little bit about some of the more exploratory tool sets within the application, as well as some of the more companion tool sets within the application, so that you can do some of this translation work with friends or with fellow students, and hopefully that will inspire you to actually work through books of the Bible together, producing your own translation and coming to a deeper love and appreciation for God's Word. So let's start by showing you a little bit of the ways in which you can explore some of the Greek text in the application. Once you've logged into the application, you can jump into the New Testament books view, pick a particular book that you'd like to do some exploration with, and I'll show you the kind of book exploratory view. I've been translating through 1 John, so let's start there. 1 John, I'm about 42% of the way through that passage now, or that book. Kind of sort of hidden. Maybe I can make it more prominent. Let me know. There's an explore button on the book, on every single book page. If you click that, you'll just get shown all of the Greek text of that particular book in 1-2 chapter chunks at a time. You can add more into the view as you desire. This is primarily meant to just be a place for you to come and visualize some of the Greek text for yourself. By default, once you load up a particular book, if you hover over any particular word, all of the instances of that word will get highlighted in the exploration tool. This is a really quick and visual way for you to see how dominant or how predominant a single word is. If you hover over any word, it'll start jumping around and highlighting all of the companion root words in the text. If you want to freeze a particular word in place, simply just click on the word. That'll lock that hover effect into place for that word until you uncheck it. And you can scroll through the text then and see if there are any other instances of that word that show up. So, heorokamen seems to be a really common word in the opening of 1 John. It might show up in other forms later on in the text, but at least for now, those are the instances and occurrences of it. It's important to note that the highlighting of the root word here is taking the dictionary form, and it's highlighting every occurrence of the dictionary form or every word associated with the dictionary form of that word. So I look at the word ha, he, or has, he. This pronoun shows up in a couple different forms, right? We see the ha version of it, that neuter accusative singular form, or nominative accusative singular form, depending on its usage. But we also see some of the feminine forms of this word showing up as well, accusative feminine singular. Every instance of has, he will show up when I click on this word and highlight its dominance in the text, or predominance in the text. Great. There are other fun little visualizations, and I'm working on adding some other ones here. But for example, if you just want to see the book divided by gender, if you click on turn on the gender view, now you'll see all of the masculine, feminine, and neuter forms or words that have that particular property. Again, this is a really helpful way to just see how gender distributes itself across the text, and this also kind of tangentially is a way to see grouped phrasings come alongside one another. So like even right here, you can see tons of feminine forms all grouped together, probably indicating some strong resemblance to one another, or one particular longer phrase that's being represented there. Similar thing here, tu huiu autu Jesu Christu is all one designation for the Son, or his Son, Jesus Christ. So I found that to be a really helpful way to kind of visualize the text and just look for patterns as you're doing so. And of course, you can do the exact same thing with many other grammatical dimensions. So if you want to split the text by case, you can do so. The colors here may be a little less intuitive versus gender, where blue is masculine, pink feminine, and purple, that blend is neuter. Even though neuter isn't a blend of the two, I chose purple just because it looks nice. In case that may not be as intuitive to you. So again, you can still hover over words to get their full grammatical forms, but you can also turn on this toggle case map on the right. This will tell you exactly what the colors mean, so that's the first really helpful tidbit there. But it'll also allow you to focus in on a particular case. You can do the same thing with gender, case, tense, voice, mood. If you want to just see all the times that this particular grammatical or parsing form shows up in the text visually. Great, so I'll turn all of those back on. Similar with tense, if you want to see all of the different ways I have tagged these things and have filled in the colors for them, you can do so by toggling on that little view. Similar thing with voice, and similar thing with mood. I'm working on adding in a hapax legomena feature here as well, just so I can show you or visualize all of the times where there are single instant words in the New Testament. This would just be a way for you to actually see the words that are going to be harder to interact with, because it's the only time it shows up, and therefore more meaningful for translation purposes. A whole frequency distribution is actually a feature set I've been looking to add in, so you can see basically a new tab here that will just say frequency, and it'll show all of the hapax legomena words, but maybe also all of the words that show up only 10 times or less, 25 times or less, 50 times or less, and so on, just so you can see maybe a heat map distribution of how prevalent a particular word is. There's a couple things like that I've been ruminating on to try to figure out how to best visualize them in the application, but this will be a fun place for you to come, this exploration tool, to actually look at the Greek text in new and interesting ways. The final feature that I'd call out on this page is the ability to show your own translations. So if you turn on Show My Translations, you'll actually get your translations embedded in line here. So the Greek text goes away because here you have actually already handled the Greek text. You've provided your own English translation. And so you can read through your own translation all in one shot from beginning to end. If you're reading and you see, hey, this doesn't quite flow properly, there is a hyperlink on every single verse here that you can click on. It'll take you to that particular verse. And then from there, you can decide to make some translation updates by clicking the edit button or hitting the previous button so that you can go back to that final translation step. This will then, of course, show up in that Greek book view if your translation is turned on. And then you can make tweaks to your flow. I'm sure I'll make improvements to this feature set as well as time goes on, but for now, that's how you can make a translational update and see your entire translation from start to finish as you're progressing through a book. Another feature set in the application is called groups. This is a way for you to actually create a group, invite others to it, or make an open group where anybody can join and attend. If you hit the groups button, it just loads up all of the groups you're currently participating in. It also shows any available groups to you, any other open groups that are that you can open up, subscribe to, and begin translational work. I'll show you my 1 John one in particular for now, but to make a group, you hit the Create New Group button, plug in all the information, decide if you want it to be open or closed, give it a name, all that fun stuff. The form just looks like this. Set a goal date, set a frequency goal, how many verses you would like to do a week, and then create that group. Here's an instance of a group that's already been formed. So this is my 1 John 2025 group. I've been personally translating through 1 John on my own. When I first created this, I added the passage of 1 John 1 to 5 to my actual group. There's a whole add passage interface here. You don't have to add a whole book. You can add just a chapter. You can add just a section of a chapter. You can add a little bit from Ephesians and a little bit from Romans and a little bit from Galatians. You can either just do that by searching for a particular passage here, or by browsing and selecting particular passages from specific books. Once you add in a passage, it'll get called out here at the top of the group. This is 1 John 1 to 5. That button, or that icon there, is actually clickable. So if you interact with that, it'll take you to the distinct view of that book with all of the verses that you've highlighted. This is particularly helpful if you are doing a subsection of a chapter or a subsection of a book. So when you click on that, I have the whole book selected here, but you can see there's a filter applied here, and it's showing me only the passages that are selected for my group. That way you don't have to do the translation like, hey, am I looking at the right verses? Just click on the little icon and you'll get the distinct section of that book that your group is working on. You can also see how many folks are in the group from this view. You can invite members if you're an admin, so you can get more users to join you in this translational work. Invite them into the discourse on particularly hard passages. You can also, if this is an open group, you can just subscribe to the group from here. This also will show you a little bit of information on how the group is doing overall. So week by week, how many verses are being translated by the group as a whole. There's a couple other views there for parsing. How many words have been parsed of various sorts. How many have they gotten correct and how many have they gotten incorrect. So this can be a helpful place for you to look to see, like, hey, are there particular types of words that the group is struggling with? This would be most helpful in a kind of a course context where you're maybe you're the instructor, you're the teacher, you're the leader of the translation group, and you want to see, hey, are there any particular types of words that everybody is struggling with? Also, you can see if there's any individual words that people are struggling with. So these are the ones where, in order of most incorrectly parsed to least incorrectly parsed, the top 20 problem words. So as you can see, I'm the only one in this group. Lego has been giving me a hard time because of its principal parts and because I have probably just made a bunch of silly mistakes. Again, so every time I miss a parsing here, it'll show up and get counted. And this can become a quick and easy way for you across the group to see, are there any words we should review and talk about. You can use the @ symbol to comment at any one in particular, any specific member of the group. I don't have any other members in my group right now, so there's nobody for me to interact with. Instead, I can just say a generic message. Hey all, I am having a hard time translating, and here's where I can do a book reference. I can use the \, it'll show me all the books of the New Testament. I can either scroll and click on a particular book, or I can just continue writing. 1 John 1, 3, 16. Can anyone help me out? Great. As you can see there, 1 John 3:16 is highlighted here. If a user were to come and see my comment and click on it, they'll get taken to that particular passage. If they've already completed it, of course, they'll be taken to the final section where they've already gotten some feedback on their translation, and they can go from there. But maybe they haven't worked through that text and they want to work through it themselves. Just click on the link there and you'll get taken right into the actual text. Great. The final area to show in the application is just the notification center. So there's a couple things that could trigger notifications in the application. As we just saw in the group setting, you might get mentioned in a discussion comment. This will trigger an alert in-app as well as an email alert to you to let you know, hey, someone's asking you a question. You'll also get a notification sometimes from me to let you know that new features or new improvements have gone out. So you'll get a little notification icon that shows up there. But if you want to just see all of the past notifications, you can click the notification bell, hit view all, and that'll take you into the notification area of the application. You can see all your messages, all the unread messages, as well as all of the read messages in the application. Great. That's a good tour of all of the ancillary feature sets within the Koine Guide application. Let me know if you have any feedback. If you're using stuff and you'd love to see particular feature sets, I'm all ears. My hope and desire is that this application provides you with the confidence to jump into the Greek text on your own, to do so with friends, and to fall more deeply in love with God's Word. Thanks.